So today's presentation, we're joined by Dan Redfield, who's going to share some about his personal experience with his daughter, Ava, and then a very special project, Adventure for Ava, that he's been working on these past few years. And at Stone Soup, I'm really excited to be a little bit a part of that, and really excited to have him share more about their journey and all of their adventures. So welcome, Dan.
Yeah, like Mary said, I'm Dan Redfield. So I am, and just a couple of quick disclosures, I have a stand-up desk. So if you see me shifting a lot, that's kind of why. And then also, side note, now that my screen's enlarged, my fiance loves when I have Zoom meetings because I always make the bed. So she knows that when I have a Zoom meeting, because the bed's always nicely made. But anyway, so my name is Dan Redfield. I am a filmmaker. I'm the director of Adventure for Ava. And then most importantly, I am Ava's father, Ava and Reagan's father. So we have two girls. Let's see, Ava came into our lives in 2017. And we weren't 100% expecting a child, but she's been an absolute blessing ever since. So when we first got Ava, her mom and I have both been big time adventurers, so outdoor enthusiasts. And when Ava came into our lives, we thought that, and we did, we just carried on the tradition and took her everywhere that we went. So we took Ava backpacking, hiking, we took her all over the place. And it was exciting for us because there was this new tiny little human that we were going to cart around and teach her about the outdoors and be able to enjoy all those things that Kristen and I enjoyed. So going out to glaciers and just getting some exercise and being outside. And Ava absolutely loved her hiking pack. Like I said, we would just take her all over the place. And yeah, she absolutely loved it. But unfortunately, about her 1 year mark, she went in for her kind of her 1 year checkup, and the doctor noticed that something wasn't right. She wasn't hitting her physical developmental milestones. She could barely sit up on her own. She couldn't roll over. And now having our second child, Reagan, it would have been completely obvious at the time that, yeah, something is not right. But being that it was our first child, we didn't really know what to expect. And maybe Ava's just, kind of behind things. But when we got the original word from our doctor was like, hey, she's not hitting her milestones. She should be doing this and she's not. Maybe we need to start doing some tests. So long story short, after tests and after, different diagnoses and different, more testing and more testing and more testing, finally, we went to go see an optometrist because Ava her eyes were tracking. So she would kind of look at you and then she would just start kind of drifting off for some reason. And that was kind of that. And then her pupils wouldn't dilate or really change with changing of light. So we went into an optometrist to go take a look at her eyes. And that's when the optometrist discovered little cherry red dots in the back of Ava's eyes, which is a telltale sign of Tay-Sachs. So after some blood testing, genetic testing, they confirmed it was Tay-Sachs. And if you're unfamiliar with Tay-Sachs, Tay-Sachs basically at about your 6-month mark starts to affect your nervous system, vision, and then voluntary muscle control. So by about 16 months, Ava was put on a feeding tube. Shortly after that, suction machine to control her secretions. And yeah, at about the 16-month mark, we were basically kind of on house arrest and hospital arrest. We would go in for therapies to the hospital, and then we would, as we were kind of getting acclimated to the feeding pumps and the suction machines and all the different therapies, and we were kind of inside a lot, as it was just kind of overwhelming at first. So like, here's a picture of Ava and I doing some stretches and some cuddling, and this was in between her, I think she had complications with her G tube, so we had to put in an NJ tube, which those are like the worst, if anybody has had to deal with those before. We got medication stuck in those things a couple of times, so we'd have to pull it out and put new ones in. But anyway, she had to get fed through an NJ tube for a little bit, but because of her diagnosis, we were spent a lot of time inside and at the hospital, which, as we became more and more comfortable with her, with the progression of her diagnosis, and getting more comfortable with just how to manage feeding pumps, how to manage her seizures, her medications, her suction machine, and all those other things. Kristen is Ava's mom. It's kind of an unspoken thing where we're just like, we need to get out. We need to take her back outside to the place where she loves.
Dan.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but your photos aren't full screen.
Oh, okay.
So we're seeing all of them, not one at a time.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
No, it's the same. There we go.
Okay.
That's better. Thanks.
Thank you. So as part of our goal to just get Ava outside and get her outside, that's the place where she loves to be. And, with her limited time because of her diagnosis, it was important to give her as many experiences as we could. So because Ava can't see, it's important to get her other senses excited. So like, she hears really well. She loves the sun on her face. She loves the wind in her hair. So part of our mission has just been to get her other senses excited and to try to give her, the most experiences that we can. So during our therapies at Providence, we would sometimes put her in this little swing, the photo on the left, with her, just a little baby Ava. We would put her on the swing, and the first couple of times we put her on the swing, she'd put her hands up, and you could tell she was just enjoying the swing. So the photo on the center is my makeshift home fab glorified sawhorse that is her swing. So it was something that I constructed out of just, like I said, it's basically a glorified sawhorse, but it's safe, and it holds Ava, and it gives her an opportunity to swing, and like you can see, be in the sun, and with the motion comes the wind in her hair. So that was like the perfect thing for her, and we've got videos for days of just watching her laugh and giggle, just being on her swing. And then from outside in the summer, we'll transition that swing into the garage during the winter. So and then the picture down here, you can tell she just absolutely loves it. So trying to take her outside of the house as we got more and more comfortable, like I said, with her feeding pumps, suction machines, and just everything that came with her diagnosis. We wanted to kind of explore outside of the house and expand a little bit more, just outside of the backyard. So when she was younger, taking her on her strollers was really easy. You know, at this point, she wasn't on a feeding tube, so she was probably, you know, or she might have been on a feeding tube. We probably just didn't, we just weren't running it just yet. But at her age, you know, we could take her in a stroller, and, you know, we didn't have the suction machine, and it was pretty easy to get her outside and get her moving and get her some sun and wind on her face. But as she grew and her diagnosis progressed, things just became a little bit more difficult. So her stroller got traded in for a wheelchair. And when we were originally looking for a wheelchair, we were looking for something pretty specific. So we wanted something that we could, you know, take her out on trails, something that would be flexible, meaning portable, something that we could fold up and put in the back of, you know, Kristen's car or whatever. But it also needed to have the amenities that Ava required. So the IV pole to hang her feeding tube, a little tray for her suction machine. And then if you see in the middle photo there, she's wearing what's called a head pod. And that just basically kind of keeps her neck up, her neck and her head kind of upright so that she doesn't slouch. And so we needed something that could do all these things. And the one that we picked out, I think it's the Odyssey Trekker or something like that, was really great. It did all those things for us. It folded up. We could, you know, had big wheels so that we could go off-roading. Unfortunately, the wheels that they gave us were just solid plastic tires. And the first time we took it out on something that wasn't completely, you know, hard pavement, we're like, this isn't going to work for us because, you know, there's just no suspension to it. And as you're taking her over the bumps, you know, those bumps reverberate all the way up to the top. So it might shake a little at the bottom, but then all the way up where Ava is, you know, the whole thing's rocking. So that needed some modifications. So part of the modifications that we did to the wheelchair to make it so that we could take her more places and it'd be more comfortable for Ava was we actually took the rear wheels that were hard, solid plastic. I actually got them swapped out with bike trailer tires that were inflatable. So just down at the bike shop, had them swap out for the same size, but inflatable tires. So now we could inflate or deflate those tires to give it, you know, more or less suspension or just kind of however we needed to adjust things depending on where we were going to go. So that's been actually one of the best modifications that we've done to the stroller, which was really weird. When we first got the stroller, I asked, well, can we get like inflatable tires for this? And the guy that got us the wheelchair said, well, I don't know, maybe. No family's ever asked for that before, which I find kind of hard to believe, but I guess that's not a super hot commodity. But so there's a tip. My tip is if you want a better ride, go get inflatable bike trailer tires. So that's how we solved that issue. But once we got her better tires and the suitable wheelchair, you know, we took her everywhere that we could. So top left, she's in Seward. Top middle, we took her to Quartz Creek, which is an awesome campground. Top right is the Conservation Center out near Portage. And then bottom left is the Eagle River Conservation Center. And then bottom middle, we actually, Kristen and I went rollerblading and pushed Ava along, and then Kristen went biking, and that's on the Coastal Trail. And then the bottom right is both of us rollerblading on the coastal trail with our newest addition, Reagan. So got both the girls in the strollers. Which I don't know if I can completely recommend or advise doing kids on the stroller with the wheelchair. We were definitely getting a lot of looks, but everything worked out, and Ava had a blast. So one of the other ways that we love to get Ava outside is, like I said, because Ava cannot see, she can hear really well, and she absolutely loves the sun, loves all the sounds. So she loves camping, and she loves sitting by the fire. Especially the photo on the right is Ava and I in Seward. Seward's like her favorite place because you've got the boats, you've got the water, the waves, you've got the wind, you've got, kids running on the path, you've got trucks, you've got all these sounds, and it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, and when she does let out a smile, you know you're doing something right. So the first couple of times we went to Seward, she was smiling and laughing, so we knew that was the right place. So and the way we get her out there is we have what's called a pea pod. I don't know if everybody knows what a pea pod is, but basically what it is and what she's sitting on right there is the pea pod. It's the way I describe it is it's a bucket seat that sits on top of a beanbag. So it offers Ava all the support that she needs, the back support and everything. But then it sits on top of a beanbag, so you can kind of adjust it as necessary. If you need to tilt her forward a little bit more to put less weight on her back, or or lean it back more to do the same effect, you can do that. And actually, the pea pod, Ava's the 7th affected child with Tay-Sachs to have this pea pod. So the pea pod was originally bought by one of our Tay-Sachs community members 8 years ago, and 6 other kids have used it before she did. So she's the 7th affected child with Tay-Sachs to have it, and when she's outgrown it, then she'll pass it off to the next kid. She's so cute. So another way that we try to get Ava outside, and like I said, I don't know if I would recommend, now I'm like looking at these pictures, I don't know if I can recommend all these things, but these are just some of the ways that we've got Ava outside. So we took a tumble form chair and put it on the inside of the bike trailer. And then looks like I was using ratchet straps to strap the tumble form down onto the bike cart. She absolutely loved it. And you can see in the picture on the right, she's asleep. And you always know when Ava's happy and content because she'll usually start to smile and laugh, which does not happen very often. And right after that, she'll fall asleep because she's too tired from smiling and laughing. So you could tell she loved it because she got the sun, the wind. She was probably laughing and smiling right before that picture, and then she just passed out. So, and you can see a bunch of sweaters and stuffies and everything. A lot of our job too is just to make sure Ava is as comfortable as possible, and she won't really tell you when she's not comfortable. So you have to take a proactive approach to just making sure that, her joints are kind of aligned how they should be and nothing's pinching, and then also kind of bubble wrapping her into a little tight cocoon so that she's not flopping around all over the place. But we would take her up and down the coastal trail with that one, and she loved that. She loved hearing the other people on the trail and of course the wind. So with our experiences with Ava, I think for me, I've been trying to figure out what the greater meaning is. If you subscribe to the idea that everything happens for a reason, trying to figure out what this reason is with Ava. and just going through the process of being a special needs parent and a parent with a child that has disabilities. Before Ava's diagnosis, we were able to get out a lot and take pictures and record video. And now with her diagnosis, looking back on those pictures, they just, they're everything to us. So as part of discovering what the deeper meaning of all of this is, I started what's called Adventure for Ava. And it's a nonprofit program that Stone Soup helps to run in collaboration with me. And what we do is we try to get families with special needs and disabilities outside and adventure, and to record videos and take pictures of them for them to keep and be able to look back on, just like we look back on the ones with Ava. Oh, that's tough. So here's the overview video. Because I'm a filmmaker, I should at least show one video, right? So here's a little bit of the backstory, what we do and why we do it. As a filmmaker, I document our family adventures in Alaska. After our daughter Ava was diagnosed with a fatal genetic disease, our adventures came to a halt. Wearing those shoes and being on the other side, I understand that there are a lot of families out there that either can't adventure or they're usually just too busy maintaining. And we have to get out there and we have to make those memories outside. Those are the most important memories to make.
Watch him pounce. It can be very hard for us to get out and very hard for us to do things as a family.
It's a different type of challenge.
That's something that we couldn't have done anywhere else, in any other way.
I was really glad that we all got to see as a family.
We don't have a family picture. It's always been our family in pieces.
Oh, look at us. Oh, there's my helmet. Oh, Dan, I love it.
You guys got some really good pictures of her to have. When she's older, that'll be nice for her to have the memories.
It was just such a special time, such a special day for him.
Seeing my son, and he's going fast, and feeling like a superstar. Thank you that we could have this moment.
The greatest memories we have together are those made outside. Every family should have the same opportunity. So last year, we were able to serve 4 families. And we took 4 families on 4 crazy, awesome adventures. And those crazy, awesome adventures came with obstacles and opportunities. So our first adventure was taking Coda, who is 3.5 years old. We took him, well, he has Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and a number of other health issues. His family was big into hiking and camping, but when he became too big and couldn't walk on his own, the camping for them kind of got set aside. So they've had to figure out other opportunities that they can explore, which has actually been rafting. Now they love to go rafting, but for this one, since we couldn't really walk a long distance with him, and Coda loves bears and he loves planes. His mom teaches him sign language, so he goes, planes? And we go, yeah, plane. So we took him and his family via a plane to Lake Clark to go see the bears. So I think as far as obstacles for this one, I think it was just pretty much packing his car seat in the plane. That was pretty much it. We didn't really have a whole lot of obstacles, but Wendy, the mom, I remember interviewing her, and she said she was thanking me, and I feel uncomfortable when people thank me for something like this. But she was saying thank you because that was something that they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And that was a really powerful moment for me, and just put extra importance onto this program. I think the total value of the plane and the going on the boat to go see the bears was somewhere around $5,500. So it was definitely not cheap, but it was absolutely an amazing adventure, and Coda had a blast. And then our second adventure was taking Sweet Kai. So that's Kai. He's adopted from China. He has SMA LED, so spinal muscular atrophy, focused on his lower extremities. So he's good from the, his arms work perfectly fine. Everything from the waist up is just his legs. So with all these adventures, we try to figure out not only what do kids and their families want to do, but also something that may be relevant to their story. Because as part of the Adventure for Ava films that we produce, we want to tell a little bit of their backstory. And so part of Kai's backstory was he was abandoned at 9 or 10 months old in China. I'm assuming when his family kind of discovered that he had these attributes associated with him, he was just kind of left in the streets, and it's really sad. But typically, it sounds like from the family that sometimes in China, when kids are left like this, wild dogs have a habit of kind of getting to these poor kids. And I don't know if it's because of that or if it's just, or what it is, but Kai loves dogs. So the fact that Kai uses canes to walk around, uses crutches to walk around, and loves dogs, I think that sparked the idea of going to the Iditarod. And Kai had an absolute blast. And actually, when Kai's very shy and quiet, and the first couple of times I met him, I never saw a smile out of him. He would barely look me in the eyes to acknowledge me. But when we got to the Iditarod and he got on the sled and he started moving down downtown, and there's just rows of people cheering and the dogs are barking, and there's just all the stimulus going on all over the place. He cracked the smile that you see, and his dad said, "I've never seen my son smile like that before." And I hadn't seen Kai smile, so so that was a treat for me as well. And the lady here, she was I did a rider. I don't know her name, but this wasn't planned ahead of time. This was basically, she was like, "Hey, does Kai want to sit on my lap? And he can at least ride to the starting line." So shout out to whoever you are for letting Kai ride to the starting line. So this one was our third family, and this is Abby. Abby is the one with the pink jacket on. So Abby is pictured here. She's 14, and she has ataxia telangiectasia, which I'm not 100% sure on everything that goes into it, but she's in the video. You could see her kind of scooting around. So she's in a wheelchair. But when we approached her and her family to do an adventure, Abby said, "I want to go four-wheeling." To which we said, "Do you have anything else in mind?" how about maybe not four-wheeling? So part of our goal is to get people outside, get people excited, capture memories, but also do it safely. So we had to kind of X the four-wheeling idea out. But her sister over here on the far left, Ashley, loves horses and went to horse camp. So riding on the back of John Newman, on the back of his carriage, just seemed like a very appropriate alternative to four-wheeling. And with Ashley and Abby, they had an older sister, Christina, who passed away with the same diagnosis as Abby. And she was 14 when she passed away, and Abby was supposed to pass away by 14 as well. But thankfully, she celebrated her 15th birthday not too long ago. So happy birthday. And our fourth trip, I think this might have been our third trip. I think Abby's was the fourth trip. So our third trip was with the Humphreys. And the Humphreys, so this is Lauren, the mom, and her and Kenny have adopted or fostered over 40 kids, and a lot of them have had special needs. And Kenny and Lauren's goal is interesting in the fact that they want to be able to take in kids and give them experiences that maybe they couldn't have otherwise. So this adventure was a direct reflection of that idea. There was 2 kids, Elliot, pictured here, 2 kids with feeding pumps, and then 1, Zeke, right here, that was on an oxygen tank. So a few logistic issues came up with this one. But I mean, I think if you know any special needs family or family with disabilities, you know just how resourceful, how strong, and how willing, they are to figure out creative solutions for, obstacles like this. So pretty easy one with the backpack and the feeding tube. The only thing was Elliot kind of was complaining about the pressure from the life jacket pushing up against his Mickey button. But that was pretty much it. Zeke's oxygen tank, they were kind of hesitant on bringing the oxygen tank just because they didn't want to damage the raft or anything. But the guides at Talkeetna River Guides were extremely helpful and willing to do whatever they could to help accommodate. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned throughout this whole process is for Kristen and I especially is, we try not to ask for too much help. We're not people I think that really feel comfortable asking for help. But with this situation, it kind of reminded me that sometimes it's good to ask for help, mostly just to give other people an opportunity to be a part of your story and to just feel like they're kind of helping. So we asked the guides if we could bring the oxygen tank on and if they could secure it safely. And they were absolutely, more than willing to tackle that obstacle and make sure that we had oxygen for Zeke. So that was another fun adventure full of oxygen tanks and feeding pumps, but nothing that we couldn't handle. So I think the biggest reason why Kristen and I try to get Ava out as much as we can, and why it's so important that the Adventure for Ava program exists is the time and energy that we spend trying to get Ava outside is worth it. Because later on, you won't think about the time and energy you put into it, but you'll remember the memories.
Dan, could you just tell us a little bit about how you find families to take on adventures?
Yeah. So right now we have a link on the website to where families can either sign their own family up or they can nominate another family. And right now we find families through either word of mouth or actually mostly word of mouth, but hoping to expand that a little bit. But yeah, right now it's just been word of mouth.
And Anna was asking if you're going to continue to do more in the coming year.
Yeah. Yeah, Anna. So we did 4 in 2020. We hope to do at least 4 in 2021, if not more. And we hope to just continue it on indefinitely.
And the website is adventureforava.org.
It's avasstory.org.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you can find out more information and then nominate a family, sign up your own family. Oh yeah, there it is. Thank you. Yeah. And then you can also watch those 4 adventures on the website as well.
So thank you so much for sharing, Dan. It's a really beautiful story and a great example of how important it is to be included, right? And that everyone deserves to be included in the community.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.